right?
Mhm.
Because it ends up being a claim,
Yeah,
and
YouTube's
it doesn't
restarting.
end up being, it doesn't end up being either one, it doesn't end up being fulfilled, or it's not a truth because
Thanks, Pseudo.
that's
Sorry.
yeah.
So whenever it's not fulfilled, though, like how do you know it's not fulfilled? Doesn't it have to be
Because
like
the
fulfilled
person
within that
because of the
time?
receiver, so there has to be a receiver, right? The receiver has to hear it, and it depends on what claim is being made. If it's a type of prophecy that's trying to search into your like conscience, things only you know, then you'd be able to answer right then and there if you can, if you have good memory.
Okay.
Another is if it's something that's going to be
That
fulfilled. If it doesn't come to pass, and again, here's another thing: what they used to do back then is they would give prophecies of things that like they apparently had to wait hundreds of years for, right? That's kind of like
no,
why people say
no,
Well,
because in order to say that someone's a false prophet, like it has to be done within that prophet's lifetime.
exactly. And oh no, not necessarily. I mean, the prophet can die and it still doesn't end up happening, and then you're like, okay,
well,
this was a lie,
I think what
right?
I'm trying to understand is that how do you distinguish, because you're trying to distinguish these prophecies in Christianity from other prophecies in other religions, and I'm not seeing the difference here.
Okay,
Because
so
if we're going to take your criteria, that means every religion that has a prophecy that has come true is a real religion, is true.
I see what you mean. So essentially, there's so Paul he pretty much brings it up, and he actually goes over prophecy in the New Testament, right? Um, it's basically he says what prophecy is, and that you shouldn't despise prophecy, right? And then that you
Okay,
should also
but
test
that
all things.
okay, but that's again, that's every religion. Yeah, the criteria that Paul sets out, every religion meets that has had a
Ex-
prophecy that has apparently come true, that is claimed to have come true. So how do we? So
but
then that
not to you,
means
right? It wouldn't necessarily be to you or to me because I didn't hear that prophecy, and it wasn't directed towards me because there's
okay.
something
Well,
that
then
you
you've
can
just
talk.
nullified Christianity, because then there's other people in other parts of the world that haven't that this prophecy has not come true for. So
There are
again,
actually many Christians. You're right.
again,
There
yeah, again,
yes.
we're kind of in the same boat here. You haven't told us why these prophecies are true, but the other ones are not. Because so far, what you've done is you've validated every religion out there through experience and prophecy.
That means the
So
Oracle of Delphi was a prophet.
I'm sorry.
So that means the Oracle of Delphi was a prophet.
Yeah.
No, what I'm trying to say is no, it's I'm not saying prophecy in general. I'm saying that you're asking for evidence, right? What would prove God further than anything else? And that is evidence that you have to test, right? You're not testing it for everyone else. You're having people come on here for you personally.
Well, what
And
I'm
what I'm
saying
saying
is
is
that we can do the same. We can run the same tests in other religions, and it'll come out the same. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm that. So you, like I said, you have validated every religion out there that has had a prophecy that has been claimed to come true.
okay.
Hell, I can make, as an atheist, I can make a prophecy right now, and by your criteria, it'll come true, which means I'm now a prophet.
Yeah. So
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 that's
atheism
why I'm
is true.
asking you, how do you distinguish it from the other religions? Because so
okay.
far that hasn't happened.
So the way I distinguish it from other religions is because prophecy in Christianity is for edification, right? It says it in the scripture to edify a person and also to help grow the religion in and of itself. Because when you have an unbeliever go and they listen to prophecy and it's about their lived experiences, because what prophecy is God searches the heart, right? He's that means he brings things to light about that
Okay.
person. It's okay. The difference is the prophecy is directed to that individual person,
Okay.
and that person has a chance to either believe or not believe.
It's the same
That's
thing in other
that's
religions. I'm just saying it's the same thing.
I mean,
People would get
the Oracle.
well,
individualized prophecies. Like
So
okay.
yeah, like in the Norse,
And have you tested that out?
like in the
Have you
Viking,
tested that out?
like with the Vikings, they would get
Hmm.
individual prophecies sent to them. Like for example, yeah, there was a prophecy of, I believe it was, shit, I watched that show Vikings. And
The
this was
show.
based on a prophecy one of them had. And that
Uh,
who was it was the first guy. He was the one. It was prophesied that he would go to England and he would raid and sack. So since they prophesied that correctly, that means Norse mythology is true, right? because it was individual for him. It was specific for him. Ragnar, thank you. So Ragnar Lothbrok was prophesied to go successfully raid England, which means that since it came true, that means Norse mythology is true, right?
So again, that falls into the everything we've been talking about, the past, right? This is all past, things that are being said in the past. There's no way to prove or disprove. I can't prove what that person heard, and neither can you. So, but what I'm talking about is that there's a measuring tool for everything, right? In science in general, there's ways to measure truth, and science is really about what we don't know, right? We're trying to figure things out with measuring tools. And what I'm trying to say is that the evidence is that there is a measuring tool, and it's if you've read the Bible, that's what I asked. There's one called the Holy Spirit that allows you through that to measure things, which Paul then says to test things with that tool. If it is true to be a prophecy regarded towards you and for edification, then you yourself would say this is true.
Okay.
But I can't speak of Ragnar, right? Because I'm not in that case.
All right. So has every prophecy in the Bible come true?
So I haven't studied every single prophecy, but here's the thing. I'm also discussing what Peter is discussing afterwards. When Peter directs the crowd, he says that Joel 2 is speaking about his current situation, and that's already past all the prophecies after Isaiah, everything. So what he's saying is that there's a new method, and it's the gospel, right? And through that gospel, you have this tool, which is the Holy Spirit, to measure if God's real or not. Because let me get to another point. This is where I wanted to get into signs.
But we're still stuck on this point.
Yeah, I understand.
We're still stuck on this, yeah. And like I
Okay,
said,
so then just
when I
remind me to
started
move
was
to
we have
another
to do
point.
like one thing at a time, because if we throw all this stuff up against the wall, then it just makes the conversation very convoluted. So I think
I understand.
yeah. So
what I'm saying is,
so my original question, because it was really a yes or no question, and my question to you was: is every prophecy in the Bible true?
Is every prophecy in the Bible true?
Yes.
So the reason
like
why
if we
it's
found
complicated,
one that,
so I will say,
well, like if we found one that isn't true, what
I'm going to give you an example of one that isn't true, but it won't mean prophecy isn't true in the Bible. It's the one where God gives promises to Israel, right? He says to them, if you abide by my rules and do what is right, you have this side of blessings, right? And Israel in themselves, the Jews, they believe that at one point they disobeyed, and what God promised to them, they didn't reach in fullness, right? And that's kind of like the whole argument of the New Testament, that there's a group of people that didn't receive the full promise. So you can technically say it's not true, right?
What about the prophecy Jesus gave?
There's many prophecies, and what I'm trying to say is right now, because there's prophecies that are geared towards all of existence and personal, and I know you can't really believe.
So if we have some prophecies that are coming true and some that aren't coming true, then how do you know any of these are prophecies? Because
good idea.
This just seems super arbitrary, because now you're like, well, here's an example of one that's not true, that didn't come true, but that doesn't mean that none of this is I mean, this is
because there's immediate. Perfect. I know what you mean. And there's immediate evidence and evidence you have to wait for. So this is why I'm saying this, because Paul, he discusses a prophecy, right, that has to do with Jesus Christ coming back, right? And he says, and he actually says it out loud, he says, does the fact that we haven't resurrected and come back mean that God is slack in answering his promises?
Well, I think the problem with that, though, is that if it's a prophecy that hasn't yet come to pass, it's not a prophecy. It's only a prophecy if it's come to pass, right?
Is that how you see? Okay, so let's say yes, but he says there's a promise then, okay? A promise.
It can be a promise, it can be, yeah, but it's not a prophecy because it hasn't come to pass. So you can't count that as a prophecy, right?
Well, here's one that Jesus himself said.
I know what you mean. So then when Paul says that he's God, like apparently it's everything's taking too long. People are probably annoyed. They're saying, look, God says, you said he's coming back, he's not coming back. And he says it's not that he's slow to answer and fulfill his promise, but that he wants to give a chance for everyone to be able to live life on earth and be able to actually meet God. So that's kind of what he says. But at the same time, he also says that he believes in God. So he lived an actual experience, right? And he actually says, and this is where I'm talking about it being personal, because Paul even says, I didn't learn it from you guys. And he's saying he didn't learn it from people. He didn't learn it from man. He didn't learn it from the other apostles, which is what everyone says. Like you read the Bible. No, he says he learned it from God himself. That means he had his own criteria and God proved it to him. And so what I'm saying is that there is a criteria, and it's receiving a message, right? That's convincing to you. And that's what I'm saying is the evidence. There is a measuring tool out there that will say something about yourself that kind of breaks all barriers, which is like your thoughts, right? Our thoughts are inside our bodies and our conscious. No one can have access to that.
So
what I'm saying is that there's a tool.
What if
What
Jesus
happened?
gave a prophet? What if Jesus gave a prophecy, a personal prophecy, that didn't come true?
Well, if then it's not a prophecy, like Trust said. He's basically saying that it's just a declaration that we still have to wait on. And actually, I want to bring a point to what you said about the face of things not seen, right? Because the whole thing about Christianity is you still have to think about faith, because there's evidence that you lived, which is what Paul is saying, because he lived it. He's able to risk the faith part. So the whole part about the things not seen is very interesting.
That's a huge pivot. Now we're talking
Huge
about faith.
pivot.
Yeah, it's huge pivot.
No, I'm not going to get into faith. No. I'm not going to get in.
Okay.
And I know exactly why you're saying that. I'm talking about the things not seen.
Well,
Like,
Davis,
yes. What's
do
up?
you so Jesus had sit there and told his disciples,
Huh?
where he sits there and tells them, he's like, surely I tell you, some of you who are here with me today will not taste death until the Son of Man comes in his Father's kingdom. Right?
Yes.
So this is a prophetic thing. This isn't a wishful thinking. This isn't metaphorical. He's saying that they're not going to unalive until the second coming happens.
Correct. So then I would say that, again, remember, and in the context of the scripture, he spoke in parables. And I mean, if you read it smartly, you would say that essentially that's the whole point of him resurrecting. When he resurrects, he's proving that his kingdom came because he fulfilled the resurrection. But then again, I don't want to
But he
get
didn't
into
come in
what
his Father's
the
kingdom.
Jewish disciple talked about, because that for me is pointless. But to
Dallas,
answer your
when
question,
you look at the context of the scripture there,
yes.
it's literally talking about how don't worry about these people, because whenever the Son of Man comes in his Father's kingdom, he's coming with angels, and he's basically
He
talking
doesn't
about
say
getting
that.
revenge.
He just says the kingdom, right? But he also says in front of Pharisees, the kingdom of God is within you. So clearly there's some sort of parable like way of speaking where he's basically saying, I am bringing the kingdom of God by fulfilling the whole commandments, dying and resurrecting. So the kingdom of God has come to you when I resurrect, and that's when
When
they
did
actually
Jesus said the
finally believe.
kingdom? When did Jesus say the kingdom of heaven is like
It's within you. It's in one of the scriptures. Trust, do you know it?
Not off the top of my head, but I've heard that. Yeah, it does
All
say
right,
something to the effect of that.
But was it Jesus or was it Paul?
No, it was Jesus. The kingdom of God.
Yeah, that's one that there's people who cite that often. They're like the New Age Christians who are like, God's within me and all this other stuff, and they cite that.
Yeah,
one.
but I'm not. No. So like Luke 17:20-21. Now, when he was asked by the Pharisees when the kingdom of God would come, he answered them. He's talking to the Pharisees, not his disciples, and said, "The kingdom of God does not come with observation, nor will they say, see here or see there. For indeed, the kingdom of God is within you." So we have to get into kind of like really searching the depth of that, but we're not here for that.
But the one that I'm referring to, it says that
Yes,
says that
his
him and
disciples.
his
You won't taste
angels
death.
will judge the world before those unalive. They would
So-
judge the world.
That's the different one. The one where he says his Pharisees, you won't taste death. He's saying that they're not going to die before they see him resurrect. and according to the scriptures, they didn't die
Okay.
before they saw him resurrect.
Okay.
But that's
All
a
right.
whole different point I don't want to pivot
Trust
to.
wants to go. Trust has something else.
Can I add
Go ahead,
the
Trust.
scientific part? Let's move on to the scientific part, what I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
And okay, cool. Thank you. There's, again, speaking about measuring tools, what do you think about reality in general and the grounding? Because I heard you mention that, and I thought that was very interesting.
The grounding of reality.
Yes, you discussed it
ground-
with
Yeah,
I
it's
think
grounded in
Jewish
the laws of
disciple.
logic, the laws of physics. Physics has identified like different fields that make up our
Uh-huh.
reality, like quantum fields, gravity fields, Higgs field, all these different fields.
Okay.
And that these particles, and that matter comes into, like, particles come into being based on the interactions with these fields, like how energy interacts with these fields, because energy converts to mass converts to energy, energy converts to mass, and then they interact with these fields, and then that's how particles can pop in and out of existence.
Okay. And I honestly, I think that's really interesting because, again, I'm more of a guy of experience. Not saying that I've experienced all of reality. It
Mhm.
takes a lot of people to get together and really publish these things
Yeah.
of different fields. And it really always also depends on everyone's interpretive framework. But there's this whole other point of reality, which is, for example, let's talk about quantum physics. You just mentioned it, right?
Mhm.
And it kind of does challenge the whole materialism that's very rigid, right? Because from what we see in the theories of quantum physics, it shows that radical materialism doesn't really explain reality, right? It doesn't fully explain it because and to make it more simple, like the smaller we get, the more confusing things get, right? There's the whole concept of what was that? There's like these quantum analogies that have to do with, for example, what is the one where you see two particles and until they're observed, like it behaves as waves and as
Oh, are you talking about like are you talking about quantum entanglement?
yes, quantum entanglement. So all these things are things that are honestly quite confusing in the whole sense of reality, and it's always changing. And what I'm trying to get at is these things like quantum entanglement, or there's also there's another one I'm trying to remember. There's so quantum entanglement is when you get like two things from different sides of the universe, right?
Mhm.
And then when
Yeah,
you
it's
measure
like
them,
it's like two
automatically,
particles are, yeah, they're like they behave
Like-
in the same way. Yeah, and it could be anywhere in space and time. Yeah.
okay. And then the other one is when you have,
Agreed, both
I guess,
sides.
these photons, right? These
Mhm.
photons that you're shooting, and they can behave both as either waves or also, I think, particles. It's like these, and it depends on whether it's
Yeah, it
being
could be
measured or
both, so,
not.
yeah. Yeah, okay.
It can be both.
Uh-huh.
And then we have Schrödinger's cat, right? And then we have the whole idea of superposition, right?
Mhm.
That it's not until it's observed that all these possibilities become real. So what I'm trying to say is that as scientists, right, and wanting to look at evidence, we need to be open at the idea that there are different measuring tools that discover different things that we quite frankly didn't understand before. And this whole quantum entanglement are theoretical and done at labs. But
Okay.
with this theory, people and scientists have been able to progress science even further and go into the whole idea of evolution with
Mhm.
DNA. I'm not
Mhm.
sure if we've heard of quantum tunneling in DNA, and it's like, have you heard of that? Quantum tunneling in DNA? Or not really?
No, I haven't.
So
Okay.
basically, it's basically saying that these theories of quantum physics aren't just fabricating it in like a lab, but it's something that our body is doing and using as we live and breathe. That our
Okay.
body uses quantum physics to create, for example, our DNA strands. So essentially, there's like DNA mutations, and the whole concept is that upon measuring further with measuring tools, they find that our body actually
Starting to
uses
Mhm.
quantum proton tunneling, right? The proton tunneling makes it so that there's mutations. And essentially what I'm trying to say is that as scientists, we have to understand that there are measuring tools that we don't understand.
Okay. Well, wait. We have measuring tools that we don't understand. Then how do we know to use the tools? Because I think
Because we
they
start
do
to
understand
evolve,
the
right?
tools, right? They understand what the tools do. Maybe they can apply them to different have different applications for them. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. I mean, because if you don't understand what the tool does, then how do you get any good results out of it? You know what I mean?
I
Like,
meant to say, like reality. Like there's things about reality that we don't understand that measuring tools help us understand. My bad.
okay, yeah, I can kind of get on board with that. Like they're still trying to figure out like this thing with all these different fields, like that I brought up earlier, right? And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and so yeah, there's still mysteries out there. I'm just not sure how this all relates to these prophecies, though. We kind of like went
Well, okay.
way
Well,
off.
I'm just throwing it out there because this isn't fact in any way. I'm just saying, if for example, the smaller we get, we find things that we quite don't understand. We
Yeah.
have to be open to using measuring tools and understanding. For example, I don't know if you believe in superposition. When things are observed, right? They
Yeah,
become reality.
it's kind of demonstrated. Well, unfortunately we are out of time, and they voted to move on to another guest. So you may have to come back another day, Davos, and kind of finish this line of thought. But we are going to move on to another guest. So appreciate you coming up.
I appreciate you, Trust.
Yep.
Thank you, Hammy.
Have a good day.
You too.
Yeah, that kind
Hey.
of went way left, but that's not my understanding of what quantum mechanics is. I think I have a very, very different understanding of it based on what I've read.
What did he say exactly about quantum mechanics?
You know, I kind of lost it at like when he was talking about DNA and quantum mechanics. Because I was like, okay, yeah, I got to start the poll anyway. So it sounded like it was like a bunch of like stuff that was read out of like different magazines, that were trying to make analogies to quantum, and it didn't seem quite right. Like, I don't even, because I threw out quantum entanglement, but I don't even know if that's what he was talking about. I really don't know.
I mean, whenever he's talking about the particles that like interact with each other
Mm-hmm.
in like opposite ways, like that's quantum entanglement. But like you said, I don't understand how any of that got to therefore prophecies.
Prophecies are true. Yeah, I know. It was like that plane was really going out there. Hey, Lobes, what's happening? And I brought up a guest. Hang on a second, iGenius. What's going on, Lobes?
Oh, just chilling. I've got a little less than a half an hour, 20 minutes or something, so I can hang out here.
Wow. You decided to spend your free time with us? That is so honorable.
I like it.
I'm honored. Yeah, we like you too.
I like it.
Yeah, we like you too. So that's why we think it's really nice when you do that. That's really cool. All right. Well, hey, well, you can chill with us. While I talk to the new guest. How you doing, iGenius?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Just want to verify. How old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay. And then, which God do you believe in? The God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran?
I mean, honestly, like whatever God there is, because I used to be an atheist, right? Myself, I never believed in any religion until I got really into like space and
Okay.
like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys know him.
Mhm.
He's really cool.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
he talked about like the Big Bang, right?
Okay.
And that's like my biggest evidence, in my opinion, that God is real. Because like, how did that
How
even
so?
happen?
How so?
Because like, how did the Big Bang happen? Because in my opinion, my biggest conclusion from that was like infinity of time exists and anything can happen in infinity, and
Mhm.
that's what happened, because of chance. But
Well-
that makes no sense to me.
Well, I think in a lot of ways, it's easy to for me. You can simplify like kind of what happened at the Big Bang, because scientists describe it as a hot dense state, right? Like a lot of things that were in our universe at the time, or that part of it at least, were condensed in this hot dense state, right? Have you ever made Jiffy Pop popcorn? You know what that is?
No, but I tried Moose Munch recently. It's really good. It's
Yeah,
from
Moose Munch is pretty
Harry
good.
David's. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that's the best popcorn.
Well, because like, or actually, I saw this thing on TikTok where they took some foil, right, and they threw a whole bunch of butter on there. They put the popcorn kernels on there, and then they covered it with another piece of foil, and then they poked a couple holes on it, and then they threw it right on top of the stove, right? And and so eventually the thing, like the foil thing, expanded because all the popcorn popped inside of it, right? And that's like a rough idea of what happened at the Big Bang. It's everything got put in a hot, dense state, and when things get hot, what happens? It expands, right? Yeah, it expands, and that's essentially what happened. Yeah, so everything was a very hot, dense state, and then it had it just expanded.
But where did the popcorn come from?
Okay, so there are theories, and that the universe has always existed. So this idea that just something came from nothing, that's like I mean, I hear this, I don't know, how many times would you say I've heard this, guys, in my lives? Something can't come from nothing. I know I want popcorn now too. Atheist next door. But what if everything just always here?
Like, so I hate thinking about that, because doesn't that mean that eventually we're all gonna go back to like the singularity and then we're gonna explode again?
Yeah,
is it like a never-ending cycle?
Yeah, it could be. That's one of the models. Yeah, it's just a series of bangs and crunches. So that it's all going to come back to a big crunch, and then it's going to go back to a big bang again. There's like the many worlds interpretation. There's all kinds of different ones, you know?
See, like even when you explain it like that, that makes me believe in God more, because how are all these like intricate things in the middle of it, like us, like DNA, like people, like existence, that just happens to be here in the middle of this, you know?
It's just like happens, because that sounds like coincidence.
It does. Well, what is it then? Is it made?
Yeah, well, have you considered the concept of deep time and what it would entail?
Huh. Sorry, the guy before this was talking about like quantum stuff. I don't know anything about that, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It's with deep time, and you get into probability. If something is physically possible, if you add infinite time, it's guaranteed to happen.
Wait, so doesn't that mean that God can happen too?
If it's physically possible.
If it's physically possible. But see, the problem is...
It also...
Oh, go ahead.
It does depend too, because it does depend too, because if we're using time as a prerequisite of God, then God would not be God, right? Because he would be subject to time.
Yeah. Yeah, so that means God could not have made time, because you need, in order to make something, create something, you need time, because time is like states of change, right?
What if he's like not in our dimension? What if he's like in the 4D or like 5D?
Well, see, here's the other problem with that, because see, time and space. What we understand about reality is that time and space are two dimensions that are like interwoven together, right? And so you can't have one without the other. And so if you're saying, well, what if God was in another dimension? But if there was, so then where did that dimension come from? You see what I'm saying? Because that's like an element. That's like space, right? That's
what
like
if there's God within God? See,
some
that's
part
the
of
thing.
space.
That's the part that makes me believe in God, is because there's too many questions that we will probably never know. You know, like asking all these questions, like eventually, I don't think with any amount of measurements or like quantum stuff, like even quantum, I'm guessing is all like random, right? You'll never be able to guess what's happening.
That's not what scientists say. Yeah, it's not what scientists say.
I have no idea.
They don't think it's random. Yeah, they think that, like, I think what we tend to confuse is that because there's not someone behind it doing the causing, that it's just it's either that or it's random. It's just totally random. And see, random, but see, random means like without a pattern or without any like rhyme or reason. However, what we've come to also understand is that we have these laws of physics, right? That kind of you know, they're descriptive of what our they describe how our universe behaves, right? And our universe behaves according to the laws of physics. And see, what you can do is that when you understand what the laws of physics are, you're able to predict what will happen. You can predict some things that happen. So that alone tells you that if the universe behaves according to the laws of physics, it's not random, because it follows the laws of physics. So it's not just it's not an either or thing. Either there's an intelligent mind that controls all this and is doing all this, or it's totally random. Could be that, that this universe just follows the laws of physics, and that the laws of physics have always existed, just like the universe. We have a lot of evidence for that. And that's how the universe behaves. And yeah. So, but here's a question I have for you. Now, are you aware that before we figured out why volcanoes erupt, we used to say gods did that. And,
no. So see, I was gonna kind of piggyback off of what you were saying before. Most of like things that people wrote in the Bible and all the different kinds of Bibles, it's just people's own reflection of what's happening at the time, right? They're just writing about what's going on, and then they're like assuming what would happen in the future, right? It's just like the collective mind of everyone coming together and talking about like, okay, so like in 100 years, this will probably happen because this is the trend that we're seeing, right? This is like what the vibe is right now. And this is how bad it could get. Like, that's the only thing they're really saying, right? And like, in that sense, I can see how God is only the God of the intelligent people, right? It's not really like the God of everything that could ever happen. It's just like, maybe he's just here for the people. He's not like, he made this whole universe just for us to live in it for a second. And the only way that he could have done it is doing like 1 billion years ago, having a big bang. And that's like the only way it could possibly happen.
I mean, that's certainly possible.
You understood.
Yet,
I don't think you understood what Trust was trying to say. So he was talking about like an argument from incredulity. People believe that volcanoes erupted because of gods, because they didn't have another explanation. Kind of like what you were saying. One of the reasons you believe in God is because we have all these questions. But I think in order to believe something, you should have answers, not unanswered questions.
Not questions,
because that reaches down to like fallacious territory.
Wait, what's incredulity? What did you say?
When you don't know something. When you're incredulous, you just don't know.
Oh, you're just stupid? Okay.
You don't. No. It's like you just don't know.
No, you're stupid. You just don't know.
Okay.
but like this.
That's a big thing.
Well, like this, Genius. Like when you think when you talk about like you could say, well, it could have been a god. It could also have been a monkey that just pooped out the universe. It could have been just that.
Shit. Wait.
Exactly.
No, because like, isn't that what we are, right? Like based on evolution.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I mean is like it could have been like this. It could have been like this. It could have been a monkey or a unicorn or a snail that just shit out the universe, and that caused that. That is our creator. We have no idea. It could have been any of those things, and so I think what Lobes is kind of getting at, and what I was kind of alluding to earlier, is that if you've got this argument from incredulity, that you can just plug in like any explanation that you want, and then if you explain it well enough, it just sounds good, and then people just believe it. But the problem is, how do we, in your mind, how do we tell between what you're saying, God that just started the Big Bang, and then maybe step back, and then eventually we had evolution and all this stuff, and we're here. That versus a unicorn just farted out the universe, and now it exists. How would you be able to tell which one happened more than the other?
Sometimes it's like when it comes to probability, when it comes to like getting lucky and winning a jackpot over and over and over and over and over again, that's like very unlikely. Just based on probability. So the fact that, first of all, like life in general happened on Earth, and then we survived like 2 gigantic extinction events on Earth, right? There was like the Great Death, the Great Dying first, and then there was like the meteor that killed the dinosaurs. And then after we lived 2, and then we developed into this, and now we have like nuclear bombs. It's like, dude, there's so much that could happen, and we're still alive on this Earth.
Still alive.
Like, for me, that's what I mean. Like, for me, I think the chances of us being here is like super slim. I don't think it's by chance.
That brings up another good point. So then why would a god create an existence in which that's trying to destroy us? Because there's actually because there's at least been 2, but I think we have evidence for 5 like catastrophic events that happen on Earth alone, right? And then if you think about it, we're the only like planet that has that has life on it, from as far as we know, right? Now, the universe is so big, there could be other ones, but they are so far away that we would never really know, right? And so why would God put us like in this planet here, and then put like the next planets that are capable of sustaining life so far away that we have no hope of ever reaching it in a lifetime, and we'll never ever know if they're really there. What's the purpose of that? What's the point of that?
See, I would like to think, I have no idea, by the way. I would like to think it's because he made us in his image and he loves himself or herself. So therefore he wants us to like succeed and like live forever. You know?
But if he wants
Like,
us to
'cause-
succeed, why have there been 5 near extinction events on our planet?
Right,
see what I
right. So
mean?
it's like testing the waters. You know, you
Testing
want to
the
make it's like
waters?
evolution, right? Evolution is all about making sure you change the environment and then the best
Yeah.
succeed. And then you keep changing it so then the best
Okay.
succeed. So the whole point is like you want to become a
Yes.
god eventually,
Like
right?
the best
so
of the best? Like
yeah, yeah. So
99.99%
we're
of us are going to
We're
die?
gonna be god eventually. You know what I mean? Like in the future,
Mm.
and then God's gonna time travel back. Or
But how do we
something.
know that, though?
Genius.
I don't know.
Mm.
Yes.
I think so. There's a lot of presuppositions here, but when you talk about the probability, would you say that there is maybe something like a 1 in a trillion chance that life exists?
Dude, I think it's a lot more slim than that. I think it's like unimaginable for us to even think
be.
because
Yeah.
even before the earth was a thing, even before the sun was a thing, you know, there's so many other things that were happening and that
Mhm.
couldn't happen and like explosions and like if you think about the 3-body problem, I watched that show recently on Netflix, like thinking about like how stars supersede and everything that happened before, there's like such a slim chance that this could have happened where we are right now.
Well, to be fair, stars are extremely common throughout the universe. They're all over the place. With gravity, it all but guarantees their formation all over. I mean, there's trillions of
No,
stars.
of course, yeah. It's just
and
over
trillions of
millions
stars
and billions
also
of
have
years,
trillions of
we all
planets.
explode and they like collide with each other.
Actually,
and
yeah,
there's, like,
stars are
things
being
happening all
formed
the
as we
time.
speak. Like so
Yeah,
many
yeah,
stars.
oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's completely fine.
Planets
But
as
also they
well.
explode and they go and they hit each other. And there's so much
Right.
things that can
So
happen.
if currently we have an unquantifiable number of planets. We know it's in the trillions of planets. And this is basically, you could see this as rolls of the dice, like the different tries. Like you got a planet, this one's not suitable for life, that one's not suitable for life, that one's not suitable for life. And you've got trillions of these things. Finally, one of them has conditions suitable for life and it develops. I think that's what you would expect, right? Like if it were something like a 1 in a trillion chance, then out of a trillion planets, you could expect that one of them would guaranteed to have life, or at least very high likelihood.
Well, yeah, but if it was that common, we would see it everywhere.
You mean stars being
well,
formed?
No, like life being formed.
Oh, life being
like,
formed.
on
Well, I think
point
that's it. You know, because it goes. It's. I think what Lobes is saying is that it's super common for stars to be formed because
Yeah.
for some reason, laws of physics. It's just easy to do, like under the laws of physics, right? When I mean easy, I don't mean like, you know, somebody doing it, but what I mean is that it's such a common thing that it's just like, you know, it just under the laws of physics, it's just going to happen, right? Like gravity, you know, we have gravity within the laws of physics, and we know every time I drop this cable, it's going to fall, right? Because of gravity. Yet it seems though that like getting to the point where a star can then have a planet that sustains life, that's way harder. Like, you know, the odds of that happening are way, way harder. But what we're trying to understand though from you though is how does that demonstrate that a God exists if we don't have any evidence that a God has created any of this? So it's almost like we're
Well-
just saying, well, you know, because it's so hard to do or because this is so rare, therefore God did this. Like, how do you make
so
that
I have
leap?
an answer.
How do you
an
make that
answer.
big
Wait,
leap?
so
Mhm.
so it's called game theory, right?
Mhm.
So if you play a game and you want to win, what's the best way to do that?
Well, you do it. I mean, depends on the game, but
You just cheat. No, that's the answer. You just
you cheat. Yeah,
That's how you win the game. You cheat.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say you
that's
go outside of the
only
rules. You
way.
find
Yeah,
ways
yeah, you
around the
go-
rules.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
Cheat. Yes. So that's the only way, in my opinion, is if there's an all-knowing God and he like controls. He has like the console, right? He just types in the cheat codes and he knows how to win. That's
Okay,
it.
but why?
Because he wants to win and he
wants to
rules
win?
the universe. Yeah, he
Well,
rules
how
the
do we?
universe.
But what's the win condition though, right? Because you would know what the
him
win
being-
condition is.
Him being existent, because the whole point of God is like you need to believe in him for him to exist, you know. If nobody, like,
Have to
imagine
believe
if
in for him
nobody
to
on earth,
exist?
yeah, imagine if nobody on earth even understood, or even talked about the concept of a higher being existing. No human would even talk about him. Like, he wouldn't exist. And in the whole universe, the whole existing universe, there's no other
That's
people or
true.
intelligent people that could even like think about it, right? There's no intelligence anywhere. We're the only ones here. So we're the only ones that can like make him be a
Okay.
thing.
So
That's true. That's really true. Because like you just said that God's imaginary. I agree with that.
yeah, we agree
he
with that.
is.
Totally
Me too,
agree
I
with that.
agree.
Okay.
I agree.
All right.
I agree. He's not like here,
God's
you
a
know.
figment
He's
of our
not talking to
imagination.
me. Yeah.
The
I mean, listen.
the imagined God retroactively created the universe in a
Imaginary.
bootstrap
Yes.
paradox.
Okay.
Yes. I
Well-
think
That's
that's what
quite
it
good.
is, genuinely. Because
Okay.
like I can't listen, if I had God with me, I'd ask me for $1 million. You know, I think everybody would, right? So like if he genuinely
back,
was
everybody.
here. But like
Go ahead, keep
I think the
talking.
only way we can be real is like, okay, you have something that you believe in and eventually becomes true. And that's the only thing that they talk about in the Bible, is like that's the biggest sin that you can do is like have blasphemy. Because as soon as you stop believing in God, God ceases to exist.
Yeah. So I don't know how us believing in God could retroactively make God the cause of the universe's existence.
So I think genuinely it boggles my mind to even think about this, but I think it's beyond us and our generation. I think it's like, because we continue this trend on and on into the future, eventually God becomes a thing that, like, obviously it's written in the Bible, like he'll come down for the second coming and he'll bring everybody to, you know, he'll resurrect everyone into heaven and everything. I'm still iffy about that.
How would this happen? I don't see how that's actually possible. How could it happen?
So that's the thing, that, you know, Michael's gonna come down and he's gonna kill all the evil things, and then people are gonna be able to live forever, right? So the whole idea is like, we have AI now, we have technology. Eventually we'll come up with a way that people can live forever, and eventually everyone's gonna live forever and just be happy forever. Like, that's the vibe, you know?
That's your assumption.
Well, that's what I think everybody wants, and that's what we're gonna do.
So yeah, we all have a survival instinct, but when you give yourself like functional immortality, all that you really do is raise the likelihood of you being killed in an unexpected way to 100%.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's true.
Like you won't just like die of natural causes anymore. If you are functionally immortal, you're guaranteeing that you'll fall down the stairs or get cancer or get blown up or something like that. Like, something will kill you eventually if there's infinite time. It will just happen.
Right. Do you think that's because God wanted it to happen, or is it just like you're just bad at living?
No, it's just the way that that possibilities work with infinite amount of time. If it's physically possible, then it's just guaranteed it's going to happen.
See, that's the problem with like probability that I don't understand. Is like, when it comes to multiplying those probabilities, the chances of it happening are so little. Like, just us being here. So for me, I'm still all with God. I don't think it could happen just by chance. Like, if it was like a flip of a coin, maybe I would believe it. You know, if it was like every other planet that you see would have a life on it, I'd be like, yeah, this is totally like, this is just a thing that exists.
So
You know.
like, so if I think that I give the opposite. I'm gonna go here in a minute, but I'll say, like, I would be more convinced of God if the universe had life everywhere and it was just perfectly fine-tuned for us, and everywhere we went we had everything we needed and we didn't need that much and there was no gratuitous suffering.
Yeah.
That would be pretty convincing,
That would
especially
make a
if
lot
God
more
was like,
sense. Yeah.
if God was
Mhm.
also present, was like, yeah, I did this, and here, I'll show you how I can do it again, and just keeps demonstrating it. I mean, that would be really obvious, but this seems like a universe where God is either not present or is maybe sadistic, potentially, or not, or
Wait,
just
sorry.
Or he's an idiot.
Sorry, I'm confused.
Yeah.
I'm confused, Lobes. You're saying the fact that we're so unlikely is a fact that God doesn't exist?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
like we've
okay.
survived despite the odds. You
Yeah,
know,
like,
like
we're
it's
just
against all odds that
tenuous.
we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, life is the tenuous fucker. Like, if the universe is fine-tuned for life, and well over 99% of the universe life's impossible, then it's just a shitty design. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like an ice cream machine that like 99.99999% of the time cannot make ice cream. Seems like ice cream is a side effect of the ice cream machine. It's a bug almost. Anyway, I gotta get out of here.
Okay.
But
Like
Bye-bye.
like
have
it
fun.
Yeah, like it spits out like something that just kills you. 99.9%.
I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that. I see it more as like having a girlfriend or like a wife. You know, you're not gonna have a million wives. You know, you're gonna have one wife that you really love, and that's the one that you want to keep forever. You're not gonna be like, okay, I made all these other ones just in case something happens to you, because I don't care if anything happens to you. You know, I'm gonna be here for you only, and you're gonna live forever. You know, like that's the vibe that I'm getting from God. If there was other people and other aliens, I'd be like, oh, he doesn't care if I'm alive or dead, you know? There's other ones.
Well, let me ask you this then. Is this, because if God created this universe, right? Could he have created it any other way that he wanted?
I don't think so. I think this is
You
the
don't
only
think
way.
so? So he had to do
No.
it this way. Okay.
Yeah.
And what then is preventing him from creating any other way that he wanted to?
I mean, it could happen again. Why not? We're making like new plants all the time and new species of animals. Like we're making new life all the time that wasn't meant to be made.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to understand from you is what's keeping him from designing it like a different way? Like you saying he could
Yeah.
do it a different way?
Like he's already kind of doing it through us because he created us and we're so
Okay.
smart that we can create new life too.
Why didn't he do it right the first time though? Like, cause like Loeb said, you know, cause isn't it, why didn't he make a universe that's just like teeming with life everywhere? Like it didn't
Well,
have
that's
to
the
be like
whole-
just humans. It could have been like, there could have been a planet with just all like giraffes, right? Could have been a planet just
Yeah.
like that. Could have been a planet with all lions. Could have been a planet, you know, but
Planet with sentient hot dogs.
yeah,
That
sentient
means
hot
true.
dogs, right?
True.
But-
They used to be sentient hot dogs. They were dinosaurs. And then they got extinct after
Yeah.
millions of years.
But-
yeah.
But that's what I mean is that like it just seems like that if this God did create this existence, like Loeb said, is either this God just didn't have the intelligence to do it any other way, so he's not a very smart God, or he's a pretty cruel God because 99.9% of the entire universe is just it doesn't sustain life. And so why would a God create a universe that just doesn't sustain life?
See, I don't know.
Lord your God, and you are my special creation. But
Right.
everything on the planet you live on is going to try to unalive
Everything's going to kill you. Yeah.
you. Don't
That's-
try to leave the
yeah.
planet because that definitely is going to unalive you.
Yeah.
See, that's the one thing I wanted. I think there's two different questions because like one of them is, are we just too selfish and we're like saying that intelligence is the most important thing? You know, because if you're gonna go against like a lion, you're gonna die. You know, so it's like the lion probably thinks he's the king in the jungle. So I don't think it's about that. I think it's more about the fact that we're just alive. We're a living thing, and no other planet has a living thing.
Right. And so, but then why would he create all of this universe just for us? Like there's no other life anywhere in this entire universe that stretches infinitely, like billions and billions of light years in every direction. And then
Yeah.
he put us on a tiny little rock in the middle of nowhere. And that just doesn't make a lot of sense either. Like, wouldn't you just create, something just big enough for us and that's it? I mean,
Right. So the whole point in the Bible that we're talking about is like you put Adam first in the garden to take care of the animals and the plants and life and
Mhm.
everything. So I think, in my opinion, I might be wrong. Who knows? I'm not God, but I think it's like we're here because we're the most intelligent species, and we're taking over the planet. We already did. We know how to terraform. We know how to grow vegetables. We know how to grow animals. And eventually, we're gonna take care of the planet, because it's going into global warming and everything's dying.
yeah,
So
we're
that's
not
the whole
doing a
point.
very
Is
good
like
job
we're
right
here
now.
for that. Yeah,
Okay.
we're doing awful. We're
here
doing
for
really
that.
bad.
So we
Yeah, of
created the
course.
problem and now we're here. We're the only ones that can solve it, which probably is true. I mean, in a lot of ways, I agree with that. But what I'm trying to understand though is, just going by what you're saying, if God created this all for us, just for us, right?
Yeah.
And, but see, the problem though is that if we try to leave this atmosphere, we die unless we have like special suits, right? Or special ships.
Yo,
right?
Elon Musk is working on that. He wants to terraform Mars, and if he can terraform Mars, he can terraform Earth.
Yeah.
That's like bad.
Yeah.
So I think we're working there. We're working towards there.
Well, and
Let's
then the
not
other,
go down the rabbit hole of Elon Musk because I can tell you, like, every single thing he talks about when he comes to Mars, he just just doesn't know what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
he doesn't know what he's
Really?
talking about. I think it's for
I think
it's
it's
for his
cool.
it's for his investors. Yeah, it's for his investors.
Oh, come on. He makes rocket ships that can land.
Genius. No, he doesn't
Yeah.
make them.
He doesn't
He
make them.
bought a company.
Oh, well, yeah, he makes
bought a
money
company.
to
He
make
bought a
them.
company
He
that
bought
does
he bought a
right?
company that makes them. Yeah, he
Right,
doesn't make them.
right,
It's
yeah.
not none
Genius.
of those are his
He sat
ideas.
there- He sat there and said, in order to one of the ways we can terraform Mars is by creating a atmosphere. Which, yes, that is a way
Yeah.
you can trap out all that in there. But his way of doing it is, he said, we can just nuke the poles, and every
Oh,
nuclear
yeah.
physicist, every person who can tell you anything about that, will tell you that's not going to do that.
Yeah. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do that. And so I think that's kind of what we're driving at, is that, you know, yeah, he has like these big ideas, and they resonate with like his investors and, you know, things like that. But then like when you start inspecting it a little closer, it's just, you know, it's just like pie in the sky. And so I think that's the thing though, is like, if we're talking about like, if this is for us, right? And God designed this for us, why is it that like I said, you know, like this planet would kill us if it could. I mean, we seem to survive despite the fact that this planet wants to kill us.
Oh, no, trust me. I know. I think even in my personal life, like I come across the most magical things
three
sometimes.
tips.
Like, you know, every single time, like I'm pretty thankful to be alive. You know, there's some things that are happening on the other side of the world right now that are
for
awful.
sure. And
And, like,
I'm
you
not
know,
saying
like,
that it's awful
no,
that
yeah.
we're here. I'm
Oh,
not saying that.
completely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's very tough to be alive right now. I completely understand. But
Yeah.
like in my opinion, that's the only thing that makes me believe in it anymore, you know?
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's the other part is it. Then why didn't God create this life for us in which everybody has like equal access to it? Like there's just such
Well, listen,
disparities depending on where you live on how good your life is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's and it's purely based on where you were born. So like, if
listen,
you're
I gotta tell you something. Listen,
What's that?
if you take any people, like any of the richest people that have everything, you know, they never have to worry about the next meal. They never have to worry about paying the paycheck. You know what I mean? Like you look at them, they're doing the worst shit you could possibly think of. Just look at Epstein. You know, look at anything. You know what I mean? Like look at people that have everything they could ever possibly want. They're never gonna be thankful, or never gonna even take care of each other, or be morally good or sound.
Yeah.
You know, so I think you need to have struggle with people so they can be thankful for things and not be shitty to each other. That's the only way you can really do it,
yeah. Do
like
we?
in my opinion.
Okay. And so then how does that explain animals suffering then? You know,
I mean,
because-
obviously, some suffer and some are the kings of the jungle. They eat every day, you know, because they're really strong.
Well, I mean, there's animals like apex. An example of an apex predator is a polar bear,
Humans.
right?
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and so for now, like, you know, like global warming is making them suffer, and it's through no fault of their own, right? I mean, that's kind of man induced, but there are instances in which animals are suffering because of like natural disasters that are beyond anyone's
Right.
control. You know,
Sorry,
like you know what I
hey,
mean?
sorry. I would love to keep talking, but my mom made cornbread. I want to go eat some.
Oh,
so
well,
I
shit.
genuinely had a
I would
no,
too.
I genuinely had a
Cornbread
great
is
time.
more important
Cornbread?
than any
Yeah,
shit.
she made cornbread.
it's a great time.
It's hot.
Well,
It's
you
hot.
gotta
I wanna
go
eat
then.
some.
Yeah, you gotta go.
No, thank you so much. I genuinely had a great conversation.
Yeah, it was a
Thank
good
you so much.
conversation. All right, have a
Yeah,
good
I
one.
hope you guys have a good night. Take
You
care.
too. Enjoy your cornbread.
Bye bye.
Like
That's
I
like the best
absolutely
time.
love you, Trust. I love you, Trust. But if somebody had texted me right now, "Hey, I have cornbread. Do you want some?" I'm not even saying bye. I'm exit.
dipping.
You know, leave,
Uh,
I'm gone.
If I get a text saying I have cornbread, I'm ending the live. I mean,
No warning, just gone.
yeah,
Like-
no warning. I'm just, yeah, it's just, I won't even say bye. I'll just be like, and you can just like, oh, Trust must have gotten the cornbread text. I mean, just chalk that up as a rule. Like, somebody offers me cornbread, especially if it's the cornbread with like the little corn kernels in it. You know what I mean? Like that, you know what I'm talking about? Like when it's like it's a little bit moist and it's got, yes, and it's a little bit
What you're
sweeter.
talking about? How dare you put corn in the cornbread? Like what? What are you, a freaking barbarian?
Yeah, exactly.
What-
Sweet
do you have
cornbread.
no
Thank you, Mother
culture?
Prep. Yes, thank you. The sweet cornbread. When you make that, oh yeah, it's. I mean, seriously, I'm not gonna even say bye. I'm just gonna be like,
You know, she won. She like Ignacio said, she won.
yeah, she won.
She's doing cornbread.
That was like, yeah, she won the whole debate right there. She's like, oh, I gotta go. Mom's making cornbread. I'm like, okay, bye. Both sidesing. How you doing?
Good. I was just like interested in that conversation that you just
were
had
you?
because this to me seems kind of like system one thinking. Anything's possible if I don't know the limits versus
Yeah,
system
exactly.
two thinking. I
Lots
understand
of-
the rules,
Yeah,
so now I can use the rules to my advantage.
yeah,
Like if we don't know everything about science, then we can just anything's possible. But we
yeah.
do
Anything's
have
possible. Yeah,
much.
and then that
We
makes
do
it
have
true. Yeah, if something's possible. Yeah, and if we don't know anything about science, anything's possible. And if what I think of is possible, then it's true.
Exactly. It's wild to me to think that way.
Yeah. You know what? Autismal Equinox, I agree with you. This is the first time we've all heard both sidesing's voice. And I got to be honest, both sidesing, I thought you were an AI bot until just now. You still could be. It's possible, right? And if it's
I
possible,
thought-
it's true.
It was going to sound like a little bit more higher pitched than Cyber.
Oh,
Well, I can use different voices. I mean, there's no rules. I could talk a little higher, I could
he
say
is
like this
AI.
if I wanted
I
to.
knew it.
What's your evidence? What's your evidence that you're not going to get your back blown out?
Ooh. Let me see. Loaded question.
All right. I think we have evidence that both sidesing is AI. I think we have it because he can change his voice. Nobody's heard him and nobody's actually ever seen him, right? Nobody's actually ever seen both sidesing.
That might be John Cena then.
You could be. You totally could be. Well, you might as well stay up here if you want, because I brought a new guest. TH, how you doing?
What up?
Hey, not much. We're just doing our thing. Just for TikTok purposes, how old are you?
45.
45. All right. Which God do you believe in? God of the Bible, the Torah, the Quran?
Well, I think we'll just say I subscribe that there's that all religions have some form of the truth in them, and we'll just, for all intents and purposes, say we believe they're all valid. Is that
Okay.
fair?
So all religions are valid. So you believe in a
To
mind
some
that created the
extent.
universe? Okay.
Well, see, okay, yeah. So these are philosophical already. When we start using this language and framing questions like this, we already are falling into a trap.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand because
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
I'll tell you
honestly, I don't really like talking to deists, but we'll see where it goes. I'd rather talk to theists, but I mean, we'll let it go for a bit. But I'm just trying to establish like the ground level stuff here, so I understand where you're coming from. So that's all I'm trying to do. So next question: what's your evidence that God is real?
So my perspective is, well, number one, God can't be a subset of a larger reality. So if you say that God exists, you're leaving out non-existence. And the problem with the God question, I believe there's God, but I think God is the totality of all reality.
Okay, and how do you know
because,
that?
Because God cannot be a subset of a larger reality.
Okay,
So,
why not?
for instance, so if I say God exists,
Well, why?
we know
Well,
there's this thing
hold on.
called-
Why can't he be a subset of reality?
well, then you have to say that if he created something, that something is outside of what he already
Okay.
is.
All right. So this God you're talking about is the mind that created the universe, and you're saying, yeah, he can't be within what he created. Okay, I can get on top of that.
Does that make
All
sense?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
you
makes
can't
sense.
and you can't place God inside of time exclusively either.
Okay. So then,
So you gotta solve the time problem.
okay.
So let me ask you a question, because this is probably a better way to start it. What would you say qualifies there being like when you say there's no evidence of God? That's legit. I'm not going to talk about I had some experience in faith stuff. We ain't going to talk none of that nonsense. But what I'm asking you is, if there were you want evidence of God or whatever, right? To believe it or not believe it, fine. But what are you looking like? What would constitute that? Like, what would that look like?
Okay, well, evidence is just any data point that increases the probability of something being true, right? I really like that. I really like Livia's explanation of that. I'm going to just go roll with that. Yeah. So just a data point that increases the probability that God is real. So what do we have?
So, but do you understand what I'm saying? It's like if I think the way if we ask questions a certain way, we're already putting ourselves in a lose situation.
Okay, well let me ask it this way. How certain are you that a God exists? Scale of 1 to 100. 100 being absolutely certain, no doubt.
Okay, so what was his name? Descartes, is that his name? Descartes? I subscribe to this.
Oh,
yeah, Descartes.
running joke from yesterday. Yeah,
I heard
Descartes.
yesterday.
Yeah,
so here's
Descartes.
the thing: if we're asking if there's God or not, we're essentially trying to find the truth. If we have a model of reality, we have to start with that which is undoubtedly true, because if anything can have a shred of doubt, we should reject it until we find that.
Well, the
I
thing
wouldn't
is,
say
is
that.
when it comes to Descartes,
Well, when you
Descartes
say
made this leap. He made this leap in logic, right? So yes, he did sit there and strip away all of his beliefs, and he started with the very, very basic one, which was he knew, like, in order to prove he existed, he's like, well, all I know is that I doubt everything. If I'm doubting, that means I'm thinking. If I'm thinking, that means I exist, right? And then he started building up from there. But then whenever it came to God, he sat there and said that being an imperfect human being, there's no way I could think of perfection. And so in order for me to be able to know that perfection exists, then there has to be something that is perfect and can conceptualize that.
Oh, coupon.
So
I
that thing is
understand. In other words, if you want to understand the ocean, you can't do it with a glass because it's too small.
well, it's more like he's saying that if you can't know anything about the ocean without there being an ocean, or without being the ocean. And the thing is because if his idea is that God is perfect, and the only way perfect
All right,
to exist
coupon has been
is to think of it.
initiated. So
then,
keep going, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
If the only way to think of perfection is to already be perfect, then all he's saying is, if you want to know anything about the ocean, you need to be the ocean.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. So what I'm saying is
All right,
this.
pull start.
If we're going to have a model of reality and understand God, we need to start with that which is undeniably true first. That's the point. Why would we build on a weak foundation? So the only thing, look, all experiences can be doubted. You can't disprove that leprechauns from outer space are creating this reality. As ridiculous as that sounds.
Yeah, it's true.
And I don't believe that's true. But to disprove that, you'd have to go to all the ends of the universe and to disprove everything, you know, all time, all everything. And that's obviously impossible. So, and you can't prove that this is not a dream, kind of like what Descartes said. I think he used like the evil demon or something.
And what's the evil man.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is this: the subject, the awareness, the witness, as we put it, and because I put it out there, I'm mostly like you could say I'm mostly like a Shakta Hindu, but
Okay.
I do see, but I do subscribe that there's I would argue God ain't even something you can really believe in, because belief is weak. I'm more about gnosis. I'd argue I'm an atheist.
Okay.
I'd argue that there is God, but I don't believe in him.
All right.
But hear me out. Then.
Okay, last point, and then they voted. We had to do an early kick poll because the coupon was activated, so we got to move on.
Okay, gotcha.
So-
So what I'm saying is this: God is if there's God, he has to be the totality. And the problem is the intellect can only think in opposites. And since the intellect can only think in opposites and words follow thought, any kind of label that you put on God is going to dethrone him as being God. And then you're going to be left unsatisfied and say that's not proof. So we have to understand the nature of the mind, the intellect, how it operates, and understand the tool we're using to measure. so we can have a valid conversation. Otherwise, I mean, I can say, oh, none of this is proof that there's God.
Okay.
I think it's
I hear you.
interesting that,
Oh, hey,
that people
thanks,
can
TH,
doubt
for coming up.
anything. But science has something called a consilience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have all these things that stack on top of each other. We know that paper doesn't burn when it gets wet because of all these other things that are involved. And eventually that builds up to a system and larger properties. That it's a web of knowledge. It's not just, you know, if one thing fails, the whole thing falls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, and you know, again, I like what Livia said, you know, in one of my other lives is just, you know, a data point, you know, evidence is a data point that increases the probability of something being true. And that's all we're asking for. You know, we're not asking for like an entire like body of evidence, you know, we're not asking anyone to do that. We just want to argue. We just want to hear one thing and examine that and then go to the next thing. So yeah, totally agree with you. But that doesn't mean that it's an all or nothing proposition either. Like, because I'm not ready to say, you know, oh, well, none of this is anything that you say is not evidence. Well, then you're already, what's the opposite of begging the question? I mean, you're just like assuming the conclusion already, right? And, you know, that's not what we're trying to do. I think this is, in a lot of ways, this is earnest. If something is true, it's true. And that I agree with, TH. That part I agree with. If something is true, it is true. But I think...
Yes. If something is false, it's also false.
Yeah, something's false is false. And if something, the data point statement user is, evidence is a piece of data that increases the probability of something being true. So that's what we're looking at.
I would mean that to be true over other possibilities, right?
Yeah.
Because, because people can have a piece of evidence that, brings it up to being closer to being true, but I think that what we're looking for is one that makes it true, but over other possibilities.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Something like that.
I think of being true as reaffirming that the circumstances of a proposition are met. Like if I say, is it true that it says I'm an atheist at the top of your screen? Whenever you say, yes, it's true, you're just reaffirming that it is the case, that the proposition that I stated meets those requirements.
Yeah. But then if somebody were to say to me, what's your evidence that you're an atheist? I could just easily say, I don't believe in any gods, and I meet the definition of an atheist, and that's it. Right. And but that drastically increases the probability that it's true. Right.
Absolutely. That personal stance, though, it's not like an independent.
Yeah. It's not an independent truth. Yeah, it's not. But like, or you know, or if it said, I have five fingers on my right hand. If it said that instead of I'm an atheist, you know, so you don't see my hand now, but what would increase the probability of that being true? Right? Me showing you my hand. Just something like that. Yeah, bingo. So, but I wouldn't. But see, that's the other part is like I don't think then. It would kind of be irrational for someone to say, well, no matter what you show me, no matter what evidence you show me, I won't believe that you have five fingers on your right hand. It just wouldn't be rational, right? I mean, for some things like that. So, you know, and if I wanted to just slightly increase the probability, what if I just showed you a picture of my right hand, you know, not my actual right hand? And I'd be like, here's evidence of it. But see, that's not out and out proof. But I mean, and then we have like different evidentiary standards depending on what it is, right? So for something like my hand, that's easy to demonstrate and prove. But then for something a lot more complicated like God, yeah, it's gonna take a lot more than that.
How do we know that Trust is not just a video? He's just an AI that's able to upload things.
Yeah.
We don't know for a fact.
Well, you saw that fake account. That was all that shit was AI.
He could be computer generated as we speak. This is not an actual human being. It's just computer.
Could be.
Saying beep boop.
Yeah, exactly. Could be. So, all right. Hey, Elizabeth, how you doing?
Hi. I couldn't listen to 30 minutes of Descartes.
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
could see
know.
some glazed eyes happening very quickly.
Yeah. Well, I totally understand. And that would have been like our third like philosophical discussion today. And that was just like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know. And I've held my coupon. I've been listening and holding my coupon. I've been going, no, no, no. And I was like, nope, I can't do another one.
You're like, I'm at my limit. Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. So, all right. Well, everyone, these are my mods. Forever Atheist, Scooty Scoot, 3 Pips. How you guys doing?
Awesome. How are you doing, Trust?
Doing
Good.
great. It's always good to see you guys. And these are, then when I say my mods, I don't mean them in the possessive. I mean as part of our community. So these are our mods, I should say. And they do a fantastic job. So if you haven't been emptied by the fundraiser that Storm has been having, I don't know when's the next one of those, but if you got a coin or two, please throw the mods away because they do a fantastic job. And not to mention the mod on the other side on YouTube, Pseudo V Science. I don't know if he's there anymore, but he's done a fantastic job as well. So yeah, W to the mods, big time. Or throw some W's in the chat if you're a member of the fan club and you got access to the special emojis. But yeah, these people do a fine job and I like them all. So glad you guys are all here. So
Trust you. What I wish. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Scooty.
Oh, I was just saying we like you too, Trust.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. So thank you.
You know
so
what
much.
I wish I could read, Trust? You know what I wish I could read?
What's that?
The Hangman. I wish I could read that. The Hangman?
Oh, the Hangman?
Mm-hmm.
Why so?
Oh, it's a beautiful poem.
Yeah.
But I can't read it because of the fact that it's under copyright.
Oh, yeah, that is too bad. Well, I don't know. We did Dr. Seuss. But that's a different copyright. Or is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, I
Calls it-
don't know. I mean, it's long though too, so that's like one of those things where it's like everyone would be like, "Holy fuck, he is still reading? Like what? What is he? Is he reading a novel?
Yeah,
What's
right.
happening?"
Right. Exactly.
Like here, look. This is what I did. I took I copy pasted it from a chat somewhere, right? And I put it into a Word document. And at where is it? Oh, right here. So with being only 1 spaces in between like each thing, it is 5 pages long. Well, I mean, it doesn't cover the entire page. It's only covers a portion of the page.
That's a lot. We'd have to break that into like 4 or 5 different sessions.
Well, I do have it broken up into It is broken up into 4 parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
maybe another time. Yeah.
Maybe another time. Maybe the next time I come on, I'll read part 1.
Yeah. Maybe.
And then
another time.
every day that I come on, I'll read 1 part to complete it.
Yeah. Hey, Reckless, how you doing?
How you doing? It's going. It's just not the way that I wanted things, but I'm just hoping for a peaceful passing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sitting and watching someone struggle and suffer and breathe in the most wild ways is absolutely excruciating. And I don't know how anybody can sit there and say that they enjoy suffering because their God said so. This has made me destruct more than ever. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
This has been absolutely wild.
Oh yeah.
Reckless.
I imagine.
And I don't know what it's like with your dad, when your dad had cancer, but just watching someone die is absolutely...
Oh, it was a slow, long, painful. Yeah, it was slow, long, and painful to watch. I imagine painful for him to go through. Yeah.
As somebody who's I lost my mom a couple of years ago, and like we knew we didn't have, like, she could have had a surgery where it may have prolonged her life for another 5 years, but like we didn't have any guarantee on what the quality of her life, of her living would have been. So she opted out of it. So we knew we had a limited time, but still, I saw my mom every day
Yeah.
until she passed, and so it's brutal. It's brutal just sitting there watching.
Like he's hooked up to hoses and shit, and I'm just like, this is not fucking. This isn't even.
No.
I'm not having fun with this at all.
Yeah. Well, hang in there. Hang in there. Yeah.
I can't give you any kind of like consolidation, but if you'd like, if there's anything special that you want read one day,
Yeah.
just at me and I will read it specifically for you.
Okay.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I
that's
just
so
I
nice.
just want him to go peacefully, you know.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I just really hate
Yeah,
watching this day after day after day after day.
Well, I think is he in hospice? Or
Well, we're talking about palliative care, which is hospice, but it's in the hospital. So, but we
Okay.
got like all the paperwork thanks to you sending me the website. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That helped out a lot because
Yeah,
now we can get his bill paid and shit like that because we thought we were going to be fucked and have to get a lawyer and shit like that. And I didn't want to fucking deal with that mess.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, you know, having watched people go through hospice, it actually, in a lot of situations, it's actually pretty peaceful. It's a pretty peaceful passing. So, I mean,
That's what I'm hoping for.
yeah. So,
Because what I'm seeing now is it's fucking miserable.
I mean, of course, we hope that he makes like a miraculous recovery. You know,
It ain't gonna fucking. Well, if they had that chaplain in there, and
Yeah,
she was
if-
like, "Well, if you pray hard enough, fuck you,
Yeah.
fuck you." I don't even want to fucking hear it.
yeah,
Like that's my fucking mood right now.
Yeah, I
I don't
hear
want to
you.
hear about prayers. I don't want to hear about God. I don't want to hear about a goddamn thing. I want him to go.
I hear you.
He's 83. He's going to just fucking go. That's it. The end of the road.
Well, lots of hugs.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah, you got it. Okay, everybody, I do have
I'm
to
right
go.
there with you.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry I caught
No,
you
no.
at the end, my friend.
No, it's okay. That's all right. But let's decide who we're going to raid. We got Joel reads Bible, Godless Engineer, the Bible guy. Oh, Storm and Amadeus are live, but I'm not sure if they're still doing a fundraiser or what. Not sure. I haven't heard anything, so not sure. But what do you guys say?
I didn't know
Trust- can I
Godless
just point
Engineer
something out
went
to you
live.
really
That'd be
fast?
fun to watch.
Well, I've been friends with Godless Engineer for like almost 10 years, so I'm a little
Yeah.
biased there.
You're a little biased there? Okay. We also have the
I just
Bible
want to
guy.
say thank you and have a great day.
Oh yeah. Hey, always a pleasure to have you up, both sidesing. So anytime, my friend. And thanks for being here. Appreciate you. All right. So
Hey, Trust, you got a quick second?
yeah. What's up, Scooty?
Somebody in the comments asked for this to be pointed out, and I think it's a good idea. B3X says, "Thank you so much for these lives." I don't see the actual comment, so I might not be word for word here, but they said something along the lines of, "I've been struggling with the indoctrination of going to hell for not believing." So they're just grateful for your live.
Oh, well, I'm glad it's been helpful for you. And just to let you know, I do periodic deconstruction lives. You know, when we talk about our experiences, you know, either in the deconstruction process or if you have questions about it or if we've been through it. So, you know, stay tuned and I'll have another one soon. So I'm thinking let's do Godless Engineer. How about we do that? We'll do Godless Engineer. So we'll raid Godless Engineers live, and I just picked it randomly. So you guys know what to do. So we're gonna go in there, say TBV raid, and we'll do that. And he's on YouTube as well, so we can do it both sides. We can do it both ways. So we can get him on YouTube and on TikTok. So I will see you all over there. I'm gonna pop in for the raid, and then I do have to go. But hey, it's been a great live, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right.
All right.
Take care, guys.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, guys.